Admiral Kyung-ho watched the stars appear as his massive ship dropped out of hyperspace. The Eternal Dominion was the biggest warship in the galaxy, stretching 5 kilometers from nose to tail. Behind him, 200 other ships materialized, in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming silver against the black of space. "We have arrived at System 7439C, Admiral," announced Navigation Officer Minsu from his control station. His fingers moved quickly across the glowing buttons and screens. 9 planets detected in this system. The 3rd planet from the star shows signs of life. Kyung-ho smiled with satisfaction. This was routine work for the hegemony. They had conquered over 3,000 worlds using the same simple plan. Arrive, study the planet, destroy any resistance, claim the world for their empire. This small system at the edge of the galaxy would be another easy victory. "Begin scanning the planets," Kyung-ho ordered. "I want complete information about that 3rd planet within 1 hour." Sensor technician So Young began working at her station. Her job was to study planets from space, looking for cities, weapons, and how many people lived there. But after only a few minutes, her face showed confusion. "Admiral, something is strange about this planet," So Young said, checking her instruments again. "The readings don't make sense." "What do you mean?" Kyung-ho walked over to look at her screen. "Well, the people on this planet should be very primitive. They don't have spaceships or advanced technology, but their radio signals are incredibly complex. They're broadcasting on hundreds of different frequencies at the same time. It's like they know exactly how to communicate across vast distances." Kyung-ho frowned. Primitive planets usually sent out simple radio signals, basic communications between their cities. Advanced civilizations might use a few dozen frequencies, but hundreds? That suggested technology far beyond what their initial scans indicated. "Run a diagnostic check on the sensor equipment," he commanded. "The sensors might be broken." "Already did, sir. Everything is working perfectly." Communications Officer Hye-jin looked up from her station across the bridge. "Admiral, I'm picking up thousands of different languages from the planet's surface. Our translation computers are working overtime trying to process them all." This was becoming more puzzling by the minute. Most planets they conquered had maybe 5 or 10 languages. A few had as many as 50. But thousands? Kyung-ho had never encountered anything like it. "What do they call their planet?" he asked. "The most common name appears to be Earth, sir." Senior Engineer Dong-wook's voice suddenly crackled through the communication system from deep inside the ship. "Admiral, we're getting some unusual readings from the quantum computers. They're working much harder than normal for a simple planetary scan." Kyung-ho felt the first stirring of unease. The quantum computers were the most advanced technology in the hegemony fleet. They could calculate the movements of entire star systems and process information from a million different sources at once. If they were struggling with data from one small planet, something was definitely wrong. "What kind of unusual readings?" he asked. "The computers keep trying to process information that shouldn't exist, sir. It's like they're receiving data we never asked for. Star charts, ship movements, technical specifications, all kinds of information that these humans shouldn't have." Intelligence Officer Jae-sung suddenly stood up at his station, his face pale. "Admiral, you need to see this immediately." Kyung-ho walked over to Jae-sung's workstation. The intelligence officer's job was to intercept and analyze communications from target planets. Usually he found simple things like weather reports, news broadcasts, and conversations between governments. "I've been listening to their communications for the past hour," Jae-sung explained. "Admiral, they know we're here." "That's impossible. Our ships are invisible to their primitive sensors." "That's what I thought too, sir. But listen to this." Jae-sung played a recording of voices speaking in the human language called English. The ship's translation system converted it to their language in real time. "The unknown fleet just arrived in the outer system," one voice said. "I count approximately 200 vessels, with the flagship measuring about 5 kilometers in length. Configuration matches the standard hegemony battle formation we studied in the War College simulations." Kyung-ho felt his blood turn cold. These humans were discussing his fleet's exact specifications and formation patterns, information that was supposed to be top secret. "How do they know our ship configurations?" he demanded. another human voice, came through the speakers. The lead vessel is definitely a Dominion-class dreadnought. Crew complement should be around 50,000. Main weapons are quantum disruptors with a range of approximately 2 light minutes. The bridge fell completely silent. Every officer stared at the speakers as the humans casually discussed details that even some hegemony officers didn't know. "Sir," whispered So Young, "they know more about our ships than we put in our own technical manuals." Kyung Ho stared at the blue and green planet slowly rotating on the main viewing screen. For the first time in his 30-year military career, he was looking at a world that somehow knew more about his fleet than he did. The humans had been waiting for them, studying them, preparing for their arrival. The routine conquest was about to become something entirely different. "Admiral, we have a serious problem." Navigation Officer Min Su's voice shook as he spoke. In his 10 years working on hegemony warships, he had never sounded scared before. Everyone on the bridge turned to look at him. Admiral Kyung Ho quickly walked to Min Su's station. "What's wrong?" "The targeting computers are broken, sir. Every time I try to aim our weapons at the third planet, the system shows error messages." Kyung Ho looked at the navigation screen. It showed their fleet's position and all the planets in the system. Everything looked normal until Min Su touched the icon for Earth. Suddenly, strange text began flowing across the screen like water. "What language is that?" Kyung Ho asked. "That's the problem, sir. It's not just one language. The computer is showing error messages in dozens of different languages. Some of them are from planets we conquered years ago. Others are languages I've never seen before." Communications. Officer Hye-jin looked up from her station with wide, frightened eyes. "Admiral, our translation system just learned 17 new languages in the past 5 minutes. Languages from Earth. But we've never contacted this planet before. How does our computer suddenly know how to speak their languages?" The main screen flickered and displayed a message in perfect hegemony script. "Warning, protected coordinates. Detected. Weapon systems cannot target this location. Please verify your intentions before proceeding." "I didn't program that message," Min Su said quickly. "That came from somewhere else." Senior Engineer Dong Wook's voice came through the communication system from the engine room. "Admiral, I'm running diagnostics on all our computers. Every test shows they're working perfectly, but they're getting information from somewhere that we never gave them." Kyung Ho felt sweat forming on his forehead. "Explain." "Our computers know things they shouldn't know, sir. Ship designs, crew numbers, weapon capabilities, all about our own fleet. But this information is more detailed than what we have in our own files. Someone else is telling our computers about us." Science Officer Yoon-hee stood up suddenly from her research station. "Admiral, I think I know what's happening. The humans aren't just receiving our scans, they're scanning us back." "That's impossible. They don't have the technology." "I thought so too, sir, but look at this." Yoon-hee put her findings on the main screen. "Every time we send a sensor beam toward Earth, something comes back. Not just a reflection, new information. The humans are somehow using our own scanning beams to study our ships." Intelligence Officer Jae-sung's hands moved frantically across his controls. "Admiral, the humans are talking about us again, but this time it's different." "Show me." Jae-sung played the intercepted transmission. Human voices spoke calmly in their various languages, but the translation system converted everything to hegemony standard. "The lead ship is trying to establish target lock," one voice said. "Their quantum targeting system is operating on frequency 847.2. We should send the interference pattern now." "Confirmed," another voice replied. "Transmitting quantum disruption signal on all targeting frequencies." The moment those words finished, every weapon system on the Eternal Dominion went completely dead, not broken, just inactive as if someone had turned off a switch. "Weapon systems offline," shouted Tactical Officer Bo Ram from her station. "All targeting computers have shut down." "How is that possible?" Kyung Ho demanded. Dong Wook's voice crackled through the communication system again, now with panic. "Admiral, the humans just sent a signal that somehow spoke directly to our computers. Not to us, to our machines. And our machines understood and obeyed. The main screen flickered again and showed a new message. Greetings, Admiral Kyung-ho. This is an automated message from Earth Defense Network. Your fleet's complete technical specifications have been analyzed and cataloged. We are temporarily disabling your weapon systems while we verify your intentions. Please remain in your current position. This is impossible, whispered Minsu. How do they know your name, Admiral? How do they know anything about us? Communications Officer Hyejin's voice was barely audible. Sir, I'm receiving a direct transmission from the planet's surface. Someone wants to speak with you personally. Put it through. A calm, elderly human voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfect hegemony language without any accent. Admiral. Kyung-ho of the vessel Eternal Dominion. This is Dr. Wu Jin from the Seoul Institute of Technology on Earth. We have been expecting your arrival for quite some time. We noticed your fleet has some very interesting quantum computers. We've taken the liberty of upgrading them with some improvements. The transmission paused, then continued. We hope you don't mind that we've temporarily disabled your weapons. It's just a safety precaution while we finish analyzing your systems. Your crew is perfectly safe, and all your life support systems are functioning normally. We just wanted to make sure there were no misunderstandings during our first contact. The bridge fell into complete silence. 200 of the most advanced warships in the galaxy had been casually disabled by a species that had never left their own planet. How? Kyung-ho whispered. Dr. Wu Jin's voice answered, as if he had heard the question. Mathematics, Admiral. Universal mathematics. Your computers, and our computers speak the same mathematical language. We just taught them some new words. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in terrified silence. Admiral, you need to see this right now. Intelligence Officer Jae-sung's voice was filled with fear and confusion. He had been studying intercepted Earth communications for 8 hours straight, and what he found made no sense at all. Admiral Kyung-ho walked to Jae-sung's station. The screen showed what looked like a simple website, something the humans called the Internet, where they shared information with each other. What am I looking at? Kyung-ho asked. This is a discussion forum from 3 days ago, Jae-sung replied, his hands shaking slightly. Amateur astronomers, humans who study space as a hobby, talking about the arrival of unknown vessels in their solar system. Kyung-ho read the translated text on the screen. His blood turned cold. Spotted the fleet this morning, one human, had written. Definitely hegemony design. I count 198 ships plus 2 command vessels. The flagship is a Dominion-class dreadnought, probably the Eternal Dominion based on the sensor signature. How do they know our ship's name? Kyung-ho whispered. Jae-sung opened another file. It gets much worse, sir. This is from their space research organization called NASA. They've been tracking our fleet movements for decades. The new document showed detailed maps of space around Earth. Red lines marked the paths of hegemony ships going to and from conquered worlds. Blue dots showed the locations of secret military bases. Green markers indicated supply routes that were supposed to be completely hidden. This is impossible, Kyung-ho said. These locations are classified at the highest levels of the hegemony. How do humans on a primitive planet know about our secret bases? There's more, Admiral. Jae-sung's voice was barely a whisper now. They have detailed technical specifications for every class of ship in our fleet. Crew numbers, weapon capabilities, shield frequencies, engine output, everything. Science Officer Yoon-hee looked up from her station. Sir, I've been analyzing their communication patterns. The humans aren't just sharing this information among themselves. They're actively updating it in real time as they observe our fleet. Show. Yoon-hee put her data on the main screen. Watch this, Admiral. This is a live feed from something they call Reddit, a place where humans discuss topics they find interesting. The screen showed a discussion thread titled Alien Fleet Update Hour 9. Dozens of humans were posting comments and updates. Flagship is maintaining position at 4.2 AU from Earth, one comment read. No weapon charging detected. Shields at minimum power. Crew appears to be in non-combat status. Their quantum engines are running at 23% efficiency, another human added. Probably conserving fuel for a long-range jump if they need to retreat quickly. Kyung-ho stared at the screen in horror. They're watching us more closely than our own sensors watch them. Communications Officer Hee-jin suddenly gasped. Admiral, I'm intercepting internal ship communications from our own fleet, but they're not coming from our ships. What do you mean? The humans are somehow listening to our private communications between ships. They know what we're saying to each other. Intelligence Officer Jae-sung opened yet another file. Sir, this is the most disturbing discovery. The humans have been preparing for contact with galactic civilizations for over a century. Look at this. The screen showed what appeared to be educational materials from human schools. Children were learning mathematics that could calculate the energy requirements for faster-than-light travel. Students were studying the theoretical weak points in energy shield systems. Universities were teaching courses on first contact protocols and interstellar diplomacy. They've been getting ready for us, Kyung-ho said quietly. For generations. Not just getting ready, sir, Yoon-hee added. They've been running computer simulations of possible contact scenarios. Millions of them. Every possible way a first contact could happen, they've already thought about it and planned responses. Jae-sung pulled up another document. This is from their entertainment industry, something called science fiction. They create stories about contact with alien civilizations. But these aren't just stories, Admiral. They're training exercises. The screen showed lists of human movies, books, and television shows. Independence Day, Star Trek, Stargate, Babylon 5, hundreds of titles exploring different scenarios of human contact with alien species. Every time they create one of these stories, they're essentially running a simulation of first contact. Yoon-hee explained. They consider what could go wrong, what could go right, how to defend themselves, how to communicate, how to make peace. They've been practicing for this moment for over 100 years. Communications Officer Hyejin's voice cut through the shocked silence. Sir, incoming transmission from Earth. It's addressed to you personally again. Put it through. Dr. Woo-jin's calm voice filled the bridge once more. Admiral Kyung-ho, I hope you're beginning to understand the situation. We know about your fleet, because we've been watching the hegemony for a very long time. We know about your other conquered worlds because we can see the radio signals from your communication networks. We know about your technology because we've been studying the electromagnetic signatures of your ships for decades. The transmission paused, then continued. We're not angry about your arrival, Admiral. We've been expecting it. We've been preparing for it. And we've been looking forward to finally meeting you face to face. Kyung-ho realized with growing horror that his mighty fleet hadn't discovered a primitive world. They had walked into a carefully prepared trap set by a species that had been watching them for generations. Admiral Kyung-ho called all his senior officers to the main meeting room. For the past 24 hours, his fleet had experienced one impossible event after another. Every system they relied on was failing or acting strangely. He needed answers. Report, he ordered as his officers took their seats around the large table. Senior Engineer Dong-wook activated the holographic display in the center of the room. Admiral, our quantum computers are being changed by something outside our ships. Every time we try to target Earth, human computer systems somehow connect with our navigation equipment. They're not attacking us or breaking into our systems. It's worse than that. They're working together with our computers. That makes no sense, Kyung-ho said. Science Officer Yoon-hee stood up. Actually, sir, it makes perfect sense when you understand what the humans have done. We've analyzed all the data we intercepted from Earth. These humans don't just watch space. They calculate everything about it. Their computers have created millions of battle simulations, studying every possible way a space war could happen. She pointed to the holographic display, which now showed complex mathematical equations. When our targeting systems try to lock onto Earth, they send out quantum signals. The humans have somehow programmed their planet's entire computer network to recognize these signals. The moment our weapons try to target them, their computers automatically send back interference patterns that disable our targeting systems. Intelligence Officer Jae-sung added more disturbing information. The humans have been preparing for threats they've never actually faced, sir. They use mathematics so accurate that it works on the same quantum frequencies as our most advanced weapons. Their school children solve math problems that can predict exactly where our shield systems will fail. Kyung-ho felt dizzy. How is that possible? Their entertainment, sir, Jae-sung continued. Every movie, book, and television show about space war gets analyzed by their computers. Every fictional battle scenario becomes part of their defense calculations. They've been accidentally training their entire population for galactic warfare through their stories and games. Tactical Officer Bo-ram spoke up from her position. Admiral, I've been studying their communication intercepts. The humans have something they call crowdsourcing. When our fleet arrived, thousands of their amateur scientists immediately began working together to analyze our ships. They shared information instantly across their global network. In just a few hours, they knew more about our fleet than our own technical manuals contain. But how did they get detailed information about our technology? Kyung-ho asked. Dong-wook answered grimly. They've been watching us for decades, sir. Every time a hegemony ship passed through space anywhere near their solar system, they recorded the electromagnetic signatures. They studied our engine emissions, our communication frequencies, our shield modulations. They built a complete database of hegemony technology just by observing from a distance. Communications Officer Hae-jin's voice came through the intercom system. Admiral, another transmission from Earth coming through. Put it on the main speakers. Dr. Woo-jin's voice filled the meeting room. Admiral Kyung-ho, we hope you're beginning to understand what has happened. Your computers and our computers are now working together because they speak the same language. Mathematics. We've spent the last century preparing our planet's entire computer network for this moment. The transmission continued. Every calculation your targeting systems make gets automatically analyzed by our global defense network. We then send back mathematical corrections that make your weapon systems unable to target any inhabited world anywhere in the galaxy. It's not just Earth we're protecting, Admiral. We're protecting everyone. Kyung-ho's hands began to shake. Are you saying, yes, Admiral? Your weapons will now only function against non-living targets. Asteroids, space debris, natural phenomena. Your ships can still defend themselves against these things. But they will never again be able to target a planet with intelligent life. The officers around the table stared at each other in shock. Navigation. Officer Min-soo's voice was barely a whisper. Sir, I just ran a test on our targeting system. It's true. I can aim at empty space, at asteroids, at dead planets. But every time I try to target any world with cities or people, the system refuses to lock on. The humans have reached across space and changed the fundamental nature of our technology, Yoon-hee said with amazement. They've converted our entire war fleet into exploration vessels. Dr. Woo-jin's voice came through the speakers again. We've taken the liberty of upgrading your engines as well, Admiral. You'll find they're now much more efficient for long-range exploration. Your ships are actually better now than they were before. They just can't be used to hurt anyone. Kyung-ho stood up slowly, his legs feeling weak. They didn't just defend themselves, they defended the entire galaxy. The humans have fought and won a war that we didn't even know was happening, Dong-wook said quietly. They fought it with mathematics and preparation instead of weapons and violence. The Admiral looked around the room at his officers. For 30 years, the hegemony had conquered worlds through superior technology and military force. Now, a single planet had made conquest impossible, not just for his fleet, but apparently for any aggressive force in the galaxy. Sir, Hae-jin's voice came through the intercom again. Dr. Woo-jin is still transmitting. He says he has some suggestions for where we might want to explore next. Kyung-ho realized that his career as a conqueror was over. But perhaps his career as an explorer was just beginning. Admiral Kyung-ho stood alone on the observation deck of the Eternal Dominion, looking down at the blue and green planet called Earth. 5 days had passed since the humans had quietly and completely changed. His entire fleet, 200 of the most powerful warships in the galaxy, now floated helplessly in space, unable to function as weapons of war. The irony was not lost on him. The greatest military force in known space had been defeated by a species that treated mathematics like an art form and approached the universe with curiosity instead of fear. Senior Engineer Dong-wook approached carefully. Admiral, we've finished analyzing all the changes the humans made to our ships. The modifications are incredible. Tell me. Our ships are actually better now, sir. Much better. The humans didn't just disable our weapons, they improved everything else. Our engines are 30% more efficient. Our life support systems will last twice as long. Our sensor arrays can now detect things we never knew existed. Kyung-ho turned to face his engineer. And our weapons? Still completely functional, Admiral, but only against non-living targets. I tested the systems myself. We can destroy asteroids, clear space debris, even defend against natural dangers like solar flares. The targeting computers simply refuse to recognize any form of intelligent life as something that can be attacked. The Admiral nodded slowly. What about the rest of the fleet? Every ship reports the same modifications, sir. The humans somehow reached out across space and changed the fundamental programming of 200 different vessels simultaneously. It should be impossible, but they did it anyway. Communications Officer Hyojin's voice came through the intercom system. Admiral, final transmission coming in from Earth. Put it through to the observation deck. Dr. Woo Jin's calm voice filled the room one last time. Admiral Kyung-ho, we hope you've had time to understand what we've done and why we did it. Our calculations suggest that your ships will function best in the Andromeda Galaxy, where there are several fascinating stellar phenomena that would benefit from your advanced sensor equipment. The transmission paused, and Kyung-ho could hear other voices in the background, humans discussing coordinates and navigation routes. We've uploaded detailed navigation data to your ship's computers, Dr. Woo Jin continued. You'll find information about the most interesting scientific targets in nearby galaxies, neutron stars, black holes, nebula formations, and other wonders that your people have probably never had time to study properly. Another pause. Then the elderly human's voice became warmer. We want to thank you, Admiral, for helping us test our defensive systems. For over a century, we've been preparing for this moment, but we were never entirely sure our calculations would work. Your fleet provided the perfect opportunity to find out. Kyung-ho found himself smiling despite everything. The humans had used his invasion force as test subjects for their planetary defense system. We look forward to meeting you again someday, Admiral Kyung-ho, as friends and fellow explorers. Earth will always welcome visitors who come in peace. Safe travels and enjoy your new mission. The transmission ended with a series of navigation coordinates that appeared on every screen throughout the ship. Dong-wook studied the data. Admiral, these coordinates lead to some of the most scientifically interesting locations in this part of the universe. Places where we could learn things that no one in the hegemony has ever discovered. Kyung-ho activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Kyung-ho. Prepare for hyperspace jump to new coordinates. Our mission parameters have changed. The hegemony's age of conquest is over. We are now a deep space exploration fleet. He paused, looking down at Earth, one more time. I want all captains to understand what has happened here. We came to conquer a primitive world. Instead, we encountered a civilization so advanced that they defeated us without firing a single shot. They didn't destroy us or capture us. They gave us a gift, the gift of a new purpose. Navigation Officer Min-soo's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, all ships report ready for hyperspace jump. Destination, Andromeda Galaxy, Stellar Research Zone 7. Execute jump. As the Eternal Dominion and its fleet prepared to vanish into hyperspace, Earth continued its quiet rotation below them. On the planet's surface, life went on normally. People went to work, children attended school, and amateur astronomers updated their databases with a simple note: Hegemony Fleet 7439C. Status changed to Allied Research Vessel. Estimated return visit in approximately 50 years. The humans had won the most important victory in galactic history, without anyone on their planet missing a day of work. As the stars stretched into lines and the fleet jumped to hyperspace, Kyung-ho realized that the humans had done something even more remarkable than defeating a superior military force. They had changed the nature of galactic civilization itself. Never again would the hegemony be able to conquer worlds through force. Their own technology would prevent it. Other aggressive species throughout the galaxy would eventually discover the same thing. The moment they tried to attack any inhabited world, their own computers would rebel and convert their ships into research vessels. The humans had ended the age of galactic warfare by teaching the universe's computers that intelligent life was worth protecting. Admiral Kyung-ho leaned back in his chair as the ship traveled through hyperspace toward unknown wonders in distant galaxies. For the first time in his military career, he was looking forward to his next mission.